Yo, RetroWolf88 here, and what am I holding in my hand right now? Well, I'll tell you what I'm holding in my hand right now. I'm holding games that we don't see anymore, hardly ever. And these games are what I like to call mid-tier, AA, whatever you want to call them, first-person shooters that are typically very arcadey. Sometimes they're not that great, but still sort of fun, like Die Hard Vendetta. And this is just not something we see very often in today's gaming landscape. You know, typically we just see nothing but AAA shooters. And we're missing games like this. We're missing lower cost, mid-tier, fun, arcadey, goofy first-person shooters. I want those to make a comeback. Like Time Splitters 2. I don't know why I didn't grab Time Splitters 2 for this. What was I thinking? This is a game genre that really needs to make a comeback, especially on the Nintendo Switch, where we're already lacking first-person shooters as it is. Now we do have Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, and we also have Doom for the Switch, but we're missing these smaller arcadey first-person shooters until today. I would like to introduce you to RICO for the Nintendo Switch. RICO released on March 14th for $19.99 digital or $29.99 physical, and it is a cel-shaded, goofy, arcadey first-person shooter with co-op. And I want to tell you all about it today and what I think about it. So be sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future content like this. So I want you to grab some beef tacos, an entire wedge of cheese, and a bag of Hershey's Kisses, and let's talk about RICO for the Nintendo Switch. So RICO for the Nintendo Switch. It's honestly a pretty cool game. You know, when I first saw a trailer for it, I honestly got really excited. Because like I said in the intro, we don't see games like this anymore. We either get AAA first-person shooters, or we don't get a first-person shooter. That seems to be how it goes these days. So that's why I was really happy to see RICO. So this game has sort of a cel-shaded art style, similar to what you saw in the Borderlands games. And I really like that because that really makes it feel like an arcade style shooter even more. In RICO, you have three different modes. You have quick play, where you can just quickly play a level in the game. And then you have case mode, which is sort of what I guess you would call the campaign of the game. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And then you have daily challenges, where you can do like a daily challenge mission. Now you can play this game solo or co-op. And the beautiful thing about it is it has local split screen co-op, or you can play co-op online with a friend. Now the meat and potatoes of this game really lies in the case mode. So when you first start up case mode, you're going to see like a map of a bunch of different levels, and you got branching paths that you can take. And the goal is to, of course, make it to the last level. Each level consists of a case you're trying to solve, but really you're just running around shooting people and trying to pick stuff up and, you know, disarm bombs and stuff like that. In each level, the game's sort of like a roguelike game in a way, whereas if you die, if you and your partner completely die, you have to start all over, all the way from the beginning. You lose all the weapons that you've unlocked and purchased throughout the game, and you have to start over from the first level and try to make your way through it again. You are able to change the difficulty. You have easy, medium, and hard. Me and my editor, we played on medium, and I'm not going to lie, the game's pretty tough. The controls are pretty decent. They're not as smooth as, you know, something like Doom or Wolfenstein, obviously, but they are your standard first-person shooter controls. You use both sticks. You click in the left stick to run, right stick to melee. Then you got your reload button, you know, your iron sights button, your shoot button. You press up on the D-pad to pull up the map. You kick down doors and interact with items with the B button. It's, you know, standard first-person shooter controls. They work well enough. You can adjust the sensitivity, and you can invert the aim and all that good stuff. They're not as buttery smooth as a lot of AAA first-person shooters, but that's because this is not a AAA first-person shooter. This is a $20 game digitally. How a level works is you start off in a safe room with no enemies, and you'll have a few doors to choose from, and you literally kick down the door. And sometimes when you kick down the door, it'll initiate a slow-mo mode for a few seconds. Also, if you and your partner kick down the door at the same time, you can initiate some slow-mo for a few seconds. But when you kick down the door, that's when all the enemies are going to be behind the door, and you just got to try to kill them. And when you clear a room, it'll tell you the room is clear, and then you kick down another door and you clear that room, and you rinse and repeat until you've satisfied the requirements of the mission, and then you can exit the level. There are other things that you can collect and do in the level to try to get more points, I guess you could call them. They're called merit points, and that's what you use to unlock weapons and stuff. But there's stuff like disarm bombs, pick up evidence, get a certain number of headshots. If you clear every room, you'll get bonuses. But you don't have to do all that. You can easily just meet the minimum requirements of the level, you go back to the exit and leave, move on to the next level. Now, one thing you got to be really careful of is that there is friendly fire in this game, so you really got to try not to get in each other's way. There was at one point where my editor shot me in the head 3 times because he thought I was an enemy. No, he shot me in the head 5 times because he thought I was an enemy. He took my health way down. So that was a little frustrating. So you got to really be careful not to shoot each other, not to melee each other, not to shoot an explosive barrel near each other, you know, that sort of thing. And there's no option to turn that off to my knowledge. So you really got to be careful, play it safe. You can hold 2 weapons at a time. You're going to start off with nothing but a pistol, but in between levels you get merit points, and in the armor you'll have a certain selection of weapons that you can choose from to unlock with your merit points. So you can hold 1 pistol, and then you can hold 1 tactical weapon like a SMG or a shotgun or a assault rifle. And then you can also purchase attachments for the weapons like laser sights, extended magazines, flashlights, that sort of thing. You can also purchase health, and you can purchase armor, and you can purchase syringes. So what the syringes do is if your HP drops down to 0, you're going to drop down on the ground, and you can still shoot while you're down on the ground, but you're going to have a red health number that's going to tick down. If it reaches 0, you're dead. But if you have a syringe, you can revive yourself by sticking yourself with the syringe, or if your partner has a syringe, he can come up to you and revive you with his syringe. But if you don't get revived in time, you're dead. You'll fail the mission. You'll have to start over all the way from the beginning. So the game's pretty challenging. We didn't do that great. We didn't make it very far. But granted, we are new to the game. I'm sure we'll get better. Or we might have to be a couple of pansies and turn it on to the easy difficulty so that we can actually make it further into the game. In between each mission, like I said, you can unlock weapons. You get experience points as you play, and you'll level up, and when you level up you unlock different cosmetics for your character. But what I'm not seeing in this game as of right now is a sense of real progression. In most roguelike games, even when you lose the run, you'll still unlock stuff that will make the next run a little bit easier, so that you at least feel like you're progressing in some way, and that each run is getting a little bit easier, until eventually you come out like the Terminator or something, and you can just wreck stuff because you've unlocked so much stuff from playing the game for so long. But I'm not getting that vibe from this game, because like I said, when you start the run over, you lose everything except your cosmetics that you've unlocked. You lose all the weapons, and you start back from scratch with a pistol. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel like they should have at least added some more progression to the game, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a fun game. We had a lot of fun playing it earlier, and for $20 I think it's a great deal, especially if you have somebody else local that you can play with for some local co-op split screen, or if you have somebody you can play with online. I think it's a good time. Now I will warn you, there is some performance issues. I did encounter lag quite a bit. I don't know if it was because I was playing online with my editor, if that is the reason I experienced the lag, but do be aware you may see some lag in the game. I haven't tried to play it single player yet, so it may not be an issue if you play by yourself or if you play locally with somebody. But they do need to optimize the game a little bit better. So to sum up, do I think RICO is the best first-person shooter in the world? Of course not. Not even close. But for $20, I think you can get your money's worth out of this game. I think you can have a good time, especially if you play with another person, which I recommend playing with another person. I don't think this game would be as fun playing by yourself. But if you like first-person shooters, if you like arcadey first-person shooters, and you like the roguelike genre to a degree, then you might be in for a good time with this game. And if you're like me and you're just dying for more first-person shooters on the Switch, you don't really have much to choose from, so this might be a good game to hold you over until we do eventually get a larger release. And I don't know if you all are aware of this or not, but THQ Nordic purchased the Time Splitters IP, so there's a pretty good chance we might see either a remastered Time Splitters game from THQ Nordic on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, or maybe they'll create an even a new Time Splitters game. And if you've never played Time Splitters, you need to get a PS2, a GameCube, or an Xbox, and you need to get Time Splitters 2 and play it, because it's incredible. It's one of my favorite arcade style first person shooters of all time. But this video is supposed to be about RICO. My bad. RICO is pretty good. I recommend checking it out if it looks interesting to you. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure and hit that like button and subscribe for future content and impressions videos like this. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Have a good one.